Hello, and welcome to episode 30 of Mishmash Mayhem.
Mishmash Mayhem.
The podcast where we take the schoolyard conversation of, hey, which one of these fictional characters would win in a fight, and we talk about it on a podcast.
I'm led to believe that this is the podcast.
Yes. I have heard there is suitable evidence of such a thing.
What evidence is there?
The empirical kind.
I don't know what that means.
Empirical evidence is evidence that is based on real-world observations, as opposed to, I can't remember what the opposite one is. I think it's not rational, but I will call it rational because I can't remember the word. But that's words, the evidence you can figure out via logic, whereas empirical is by observation.
I see.
Yes, I have an A-level in
anecdotal
philosophy.
would be the other one.
What?
Anecdotal evidence.
It's not anecdotal. I can't remember what the word is, but, I have an A-level in philosophy.
Do you now?
I do.
Do you have
Like all of my
A-level?
A-levels, it's not a particularly good A-level, but I have it.
I mean, A-levels are irrelevant as soon as you go to uni anyway.
Yes, let in.
And arguably, A-levels are irrelevant even before you go to university. Today. Right, so welcome for the 30th time, possibly the third time, possibly the 13th time. Maybe the first, or any other number in between that is an integer.
You're welcome.
For those of you who do not remember, last week we had Samus Aran versus...
Psycho.
Yes, that's the one, Psycho. I knew a character, I just couldn't remember the name.
I can't think what her surname is, but Psycho.
Mantis.
No. I mean, that would potentially be a really cool character to have on here, but...
It would be a really cool character to have on there. Adds to the list.
I can only beat it if I use the Player 2 controller. I don't know how we'd do that in podcast form, but here we are.
Amazing. Last week was Samus Aran. She had earned her mish at this point, and she was versus Psycho from High School of the Dead.
Yep.
And she bested her in a plane, primarily due to samurai swords not being well equipped to deal with power armor.
Yeah, it seems to be
And
how Samus
therefore-
is winning this.
Well,
The best offense is a good defense and all that.
Yeah, and
Oh
an
my
arm
god,
cannon.
and... Well, yeah. I mean, not so much the arm cannon, but the whole idea of the best offense being a good defense is going to play very much into my character too this week.
Oh right, okay. I'm interested to hear about this. But Samus bested her and therefore earned her mash, and this week therefore is fighting for the ultimate prize, the Mayhem that allows you entrance into the Hall of Fame, where currently 6 other people reside. Surely not 6. It could be
5?
6. Yeah, 5 sounds about right.
Ryu, Lee, Lilith, Drac,
And Lucy.
and Lucy. I knew there was another one. Yeah, it's 5.
Alright.
I do have it written down on my phone.
Anyway, so she'll be vying to join those 5 people and make up a fair set of the constituent for a winners tournament, which will probably be happening soonish. You know, like soon being probably a couple of months away. But anyway.
But it depends how quick it goes, doesn't it?
It does, because sometimes a winner wins 3 in a row after being brand new, and sometimes it goes back and forth for a bit.
That's
So,
it.
who knows?
I mean, I think we had Lee and Lucy both very quickly. So, like, the start of this year was, man, let's get people in the Hall of Fame. But then that being said, it took all of last year to get 3 people in.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just had 2 very quick at the beginning of this year. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Samus has a reasonable chance.
Yeah, and I think she's a good character as well.
Mm.
A good level of badassery, but not OP-ness. As I found out yesterday when I was playing Super Metroid and died at least 20 times to a fucking golden Chozo statue. It was very hard to beat. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to introduce both the characters for this week's bout. Starting, of course, with the reigning champion Samus Aran, and then going through to your new mystery character. We're going to go through things like their armor, their weapons, their skill set, their mindset, and what games they would play on the Nintendo Switch SNES emulator if they had a Nintendo Switch with an online pass allowing them to play the SNES emulator, and it's downloadable.
You know what annoys me about the SNES emulator is it doesn't have all of the games that are on the mini SNES.
Yeah, but why does that annoy you? It's a different game.
I know. But I very much thought when I put my Switch online, I was like, oh, it could be really nice and give my mini SNES away. I'm like, to somebody who doesn't have it. And then I was like, oh man, but this doesn't have Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame it doesn't have Donkey Kong, isn't it?
I bet it's because Microsoft owns Rare now. It's probably a licensing issue.
Which Donkey Kong is it on the SNES?
On the mini SNES, the first one, Donkey Kong Country.
I mean, Donkey Kong Country 2. No, wait, 2 or 3? Wait, which one's Donkey Kong Country 2? Donkey Kong Country 2 is the one where you're Diddy and Dixie, and you start on the pirate ship. Donkey Kong Country 3 is where you're Dixie and
Kiddy,
yes. That one is probably the best.
Yes, it is.
But I mean, it did come out at like peak Nintendo.
I remember when Donkey Kong Country 3 came out. Yeah, it was towards the end of the SNES, and I was like, this is the most amazing graphics I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was damn good.
And I think what it is because it still kind of looks good now, and I think it's because it's like cartoony 3D models on like a really nice painted background. So it's I think that's the thing as well, like cartoony stuff ages a lot better than realistic stuff.
Yeah, sprites age quite well, because if you were to do sprites now, they would look exactly the same. You know, you're not the only thing you can necessarily increase in sprites is the number of pixels, and then at some point it becomes not sprites.
Like there's a funny thing I remember seeing where it's like it was like a list of things that skills you learned playing old games that you no longer have, like now the games have got better,
right?
And one of them was like being able to read emotions of polygon faces. And the example was Metal Gear, like the first Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation. And because I can remember when that coming out, not necessarily being mind blown, but thinking, God, this does look good. And then you look at it now, and Solid Snake's expression never changes. It's like always the same, like 2D face, or not, like, you know. But at the time, you were like, yeah, he emotes, and like he can change, and you know. But his face never changes. It's one solid like expression throughout the entire game.
I love it. You know what else you learn, or you a skill you've lost from old video games, is being able to platform with janky ass controls. Like, good God, I genuinely spent 10 minutes yesterday trying to just get up to a room where I knew that I'm not even sure if I knew that I wasn't supposed to be able to get there yet or not. I honestly I'm unsure, but it was difficult because I had to do a wall jump, which is not easy to do, and the game only visually shows you how to do it. It doesn't actually describe the buttons to press to do it. So it took me a long time to work out how to do that. And then you have to jump off the wall and then freeze a creature, and it has to be in the right spot for you to land on it, and then you can go up into this door.
Another one that gets me is on some old like FPS games, I think in the N64 era especially, where when you aimed somewhere, if you let go of the joystick, your aim went back to center rather than being there, so you'd have to constantly hold the joystick over.
Yes, it did.
Oh man, because I remember like we used to play World's Not Enough on the N64 all the time.
We did,
and that does it. But then like I didn't realize as a kid that was the thing. And then what sort of really made me think about it is when I got the Rare replay, and there was some like space sci-fi shooter, because obviously Rare made World's Not Enough and GoldenEye as well. It was just, I don't know, like not a mainline Rare sort of title, because I guess they were James Bond things, but it had some sort of sci-fi shooter thing that was on the N64, and it has that thing where if you let go of the joystick, your aim recenters, so it's really hard to actually aim at anything. And I was like, I cannot play this game. I think I managed to do level 1, but I died about 30 times doing level 1, which is like, and I was just like, I can't play this game. It's unplayable.
Well, I remember like when we used to play The World Is Not Enough a lot when we were kids, we were probably fairly equal. Maybe I was slightly better because I actually owned the game.
Yeah.
But when we started playing back like in college times, you were better because you retained the knowledge of how to aim, because you kept playing all these other games where that was probably a thing, and I didn't. And when we started playing in that time, you were definitely better because you could actually aim and I couldn't.
I think a large part of it was because I gave up on guns and just went for punching people. I was like, you can actually do this, like melee combat still works.
So goofy. Great game. I think I've got it in my drawer next to me. I'll have a look later. But anyway, after going through all those things that I said about Switch games, yes, that's how we got onto this massive tangent.
Yep.
We will then roll the icosahedron of unlife,
also referred to as the Die of Death.
Die of Death, to work out where our combatants are going to fight this time, and not canonically, but historic. It has made significant impacts on how fights have gone before. Sometimes it hasn't, sometimes it has. So, maybe we'll see this week. without further distraction, and by without further distraction I mean there's going to be further distraction, because there always is. Let's go through, starting with Samus.
Samus-chan. San.
Samus-chan.
Samus-chan's boy. Samus-san. Senpai.
Samus. I mean, she could be a senpai. So, Samus Aran was born on... I don't even know what planet she was born on, to be honest. But she was
born on a planet. Oh my god.
She was born on a planet. Well, some people are born in space. Born a human, but early in her life, she was subject to the vision... Not the vision, but like the actual seeing of essentially genocide, but not actually genocide because she survived. Genocide has to wipe out the entire species, I believe. Or does it just have to...
I don't think so. I think it's just a mass part of it, because the Nazis were genocidal, right? Like,
they were genocidal.
Well, I believe most people would consider they committed genocide. Like, they killed.
No, okay. It says of a large group of people, especially those
Yeah.
of a particular nation or ethnic group. All right, so yes, she witnessed the genocide of her own people at the hands of the space pirates, but fortunately she was able to escape. And then another race of alien critters known as the Chozo. These kind of bird-like critters, they found her and took sympathy on her and adopted her into their society. Because Samus was quite young and she didn't really fit in with bird-like avian aliens, you know, because humans don't, they injected her with some of her DNA to give her some extra abilities. Well, mostly to help her fit in. But it also enhanced some of her athletic abilities, such as her strength, endurance, and speed, which is always useful. After being brought up with the Chozo, she joined the Galactic Federation as a space police, I guess. That's what they are. But eventually she left the Galactic Federation being incredibly able and incredibly more skilled than most of her comrades to become a bounty hunter, probably seeded by a lust for revenge against the space pirates who genocided her homeworld. Since being a bounty hunter, she has travelled numerous planets and destroyed many things and dangerous aliens, including the artificially made super aliens called the Metroids, which is the titular name of the enemies in her universe. That's why it's called Super Metroid. So, as a bounty hunter, she goes around finding other planets and trying to eradicate enemies of the space world. That doesn't make much sense. The universe is a better term for space world. How would you go about killing people in space world?
With some sort of space laser.
Some sort of space laser and space armor, and that's just what you need. So Samus comes equipped with her standard power armor, which is known as her Varia suit. I think it's known as a Varia suit. It might be called Varia suit once it's upgraded. Yes, okay, the Varia suit is actually the upgraded of the power suit. It comes equipped with a power suit, which contains life support systems, augmented strength, energy shielding, the ability to, survive in a vacuum, and have long-lived supply of oxygen, as well as allowing her to morph into a ball, because why not? Why wouldn't you want to be able to morph into a ball? But equally, it comes equipped with a giant cannon on her arm, known as a hand cannon. Funnily that.
Well, yeah.
A hand cannon is Samus's most well-known weapon, being able to fire balls of energy.
I can shoot so much energy balls.
Energy balls make sense, but energies of ball doesn't make sense. Being able to fire rapid fire multiple energy projectiles at her opponents. It also has a wide variety of powerful upgrades which she can be equipped, most of which are not going to be applied in this scenario because we're just going to go with a fairly well-rounded Samus, not a FU Samus. The FU stands for fully upgraded, not for fuck.
No, it's both, isn't it? She's fully upgraded and she's like, FU, come on.
Well, if people saw an FU Samus, they would be like, FU Samus.
No, Samus, it's called that because Samus is like FU bad guy.
Ah, yes, FU bad
wrecked.
guys, I'm FU
Get
Samus.
wrecked.
FU Samus.
Fufu Samus.
Fufu Samus. Oh dear. But yes, as well as being able to just fire lots of little tiny bullets, she can also charge it up into a charged beam, a charged cannon, which deals significantly more damage. And if you've ever played Super Smash Bros., which I'm guessing some of our listeners probably have, has increased blowback force. Is that what I'm looking for? I don't know, you know what I mean.
Knockback.
Knockback, yes, knockback is the good term. Knockback. More punch. More kick. More gusto.
When it hits stuff, it will throw it further.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly in Metroid, none of the enemies get thrown anywhere. They just die, but
They do
we'll
just
ignore
die.
that. She's also equipped with the bomb. As mentioned earlier, her suit can morph her into a little ball. Also,
That is the sound it makes. That was a
yeah, it was
good sound recreation.
only allows her to roll away and move more versatile, with more versatility and through smaller gaps, but also allows her to lay bombs, which while in her rounded suit form she is effectively immune to, which is pretty awesome. These bombs are used typically to either kill enemies, including these leapy sucky bastards. I've been playing Super Metroid recently, so I don't know their names, but leapy sucky bastards, you probably know what they are, and holes in walls so you can get further. This Samus is also equipped with the Ice Beam, one of the, as I've said, many upgrades that are all the way throughout the Metroid series. The Ice Beam allows Samus to freeze enemies solid in their tracks, and then they explode and die, which is always fun. I've worked out how the Ice Beam works in terms of freezing things now.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, it will freeze something if it's one shot away from death.
Oh.
So then you can either shoot it again with the Ice Beam to kill it, or you can use it as a platform. But as we've discussed before in this, the freeze beam is effectively not going to be able to freeze the opponent unless it seems super reasonable, because the freeze beam won't freeze bosses and also won't freeze enemies which are nowhere near dying. I mean, I came across some super powerful cipher bug things that wouldn't get frozen at all. It's just going to be unable to freeze the opposing character with it, but potentially, as demonstrated in last week's episode, some of the artifacts, equipment and items and environmental factors that come along for the ride. She also comes equipped with missiles which also fire out of her hand cannon, the missiles being more powerful than her charge beam, but a slightly slower projectile. In Super Smash Bros, I believe she can control the direction of them, but I think for this we're just going with a more retro Samus missile that is just a standard projectile missile.
Yeah.
But she does have a huge quantity of them. I mean, I definitely haven't collected all the missile power-ups, and I have a whopping 75 capacitor cells. So it is not unreasonable to believe that she has all the missiles she could ever need, unless she needs 1,000.
I'm sure you told me last week it was like 255 or something. Definitely ended in a 5, because I remember thinking that was silly.
Oh, very possibly. I mean, 255 would not be unreasonable for some of the later games where 256 is probably like the bit limit. So, it makes sense. That is old Samus, who is young. I don't know how old Samus is.
Facing Samus today is my new character. So the clue I gave last time, which I'm aware wasn't a great clue, but it was hard to think of something that wouldn't give it away, is that she is from a Netflix cartoon about dragons.
Oh yeah, I had no idea what the fuck it was.
So the cartoon in question was The Dragon Prince, which is really good, and I recommend people watch it. I can't wait for season 4 to start. And the character is, and I probably don't know how to pronounce this, but Amaya? It might be Amaya.
Okay.
She is awesome. She is the general, or a general in the army. I will actually, this link, you can see what she looks like. Because she's all like got sort of, I guess, medieval style armor.
Okay. I mean, that's not at all what normal armor looks like, for sure.
I don't know, a little bit like a fantasy medieval.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yes. Look at those shoulder pads.
Yeah, she has a very sort of fantasy medieval look. I guess it's quite Fire Emblem-y in a way.
It is quite Fire Emblem, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of style.
Glamprack, I call it.
Glamprack.
Yeah, it's glamorous and practical.
Okay, there you go. She's got Glamprack armor.
It's not a real term. Don't ever use that.
No, it's official now. So yeah, so she's very sort of trained and competent in combat. But when she's not on the battlefield, she's seen as a very warm and caring person. She's very willing to fight to look after her family. They're like the most important thing. She is the aunt of the two princes who the cartoon sort of follows. And since their mother died, she's kind of like a stand-in mother figure for them. So she is very nurturing. But where she is the general in the army, her squad that she controls is like the ones in charge of looking after the border. So she's often away from home. And it's interesting to know that despite being she is a very competent and powerful fighter, despite the fact she's actually deaf.
Did you say she's actually dead?
Deaf, as in
Oh,
cannot hear.
deaf. Sorry, I was like, you what?
Yeah. So for many people, like having sound awareness would be a helpful thing in combat, but she is managed to be the most powerful sort of member of the army, despite the fact she cannot hear, and she's still the best at combat because she's that awesome.
I see.
Because she communicates via sign language. Because her lieutenant Gren interprets for her. She's also a master of lip reading, so because she is often seen to understand people who aren't signing.
Nifty. That's quite challenging.
Yeah, it is. But I suppose because she was born deaf, it's not something that's happened to her. So I guess if you spent your whole life learning,
I'd argue that'd be even harder.
I say because you don't know what the shapes are supposed to be. Yeah, to show you sort of how good a fighter she is, she has a birthday tradition. On her birthday, she gets her entire battalion to all attack her, except for her lieutenant Gren, who acts as referee. And she promises the first soldier to get a hit on her will immediately be promoted.
Amazing.
However, every year when she has done this, not a single soldier has managed to lay a hit on her before she's beaten them.
I mean, I don't know if that speaks more for her or her soldiers.
I think it speaks more for her because I can't find the quote now. I did have it before, but there was something like their army is one of the best in the kingdom or something, like they're all trained to be the most fierce army. But yeah, the point is that she's very competent in battle, and this is why I think she'll be interesting for Samus, because like I say, it's she runs on a similar idea of the best offense being a good defense, because her weapon of choice is a great shield.
It's not a weapon.
So she can either sort of use that as like a big, heavy, blunt object to hit people with, to sort of push them back, or she can use it, there's a bit cut out the top, so it has 2 points, and she can use that to pin people to a surface or a wall by trapping them in it. Or how she often fights is she'll just charge forward with the shield in front of her and use it kind of like a battering ram style to sort of push people back. And then obviously it's a big shield, so she can use it very defensively to block incoming attack.
What? Who would have thought you could use a shield to block attacks?
I know, right? Revolutionary. But yeah, so that's what Amaya does. That's kind of her deal. Again, she's sort of one of these characters. There's not necessarily a huge amount to say about her. She just does things well. But I like that it's quite an interesting fighting style. It's very unconventional. The fact that she's sort of using a shield both offensively and defensively.
I assume she's been in fights outside of the ones where she invites a whole battalion to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Her.
Has she taken hits in those fights?
Yes, because how the world is set up is the kingdom she is from is a non-magical kingdom. On the whole, there are a couple of magicians in it, but they are like the court magicians. But on the whole, is a non-magical kingdom, and the other kingdoms around are more so. Well, basically, there's a few human kingdoms which are primarily non-magic, and then there's elven kingdoms and the dragon kingdom, which are much more magical, because primarily humans cannot use magic. There's a few ways around it, but
Suck it, humans.
And there's a really cool thing in Series 3 where she gets. She has to fight with some fire elves, or I think they're called the sunlight elves, but essentially elves that use fire magic. And yeah, there's some really cool fight scenes there. But the point is, she's able to hold her own against magic users, despite being a non-magic user, and by being sort of both clever and offensive and defensive with her shield and tactics in battle. Yeah, so I'd say she's very competent and she knows what she's doing. I think she'll be a really interesting fight for Samus.
All right, well, let's find out where they're going to fight.
Let me do that by rolling the die of death. Man. So, last week we had an aeroplane, which, due to all the seats and stuff, potentially you'd argue there isn't much room, and it's quite a compact area. However, it will seem very spacious compared to this week, where today's fight is taking place in a tent.
A tent? Oh my god.
I mean, I suppose it depends on the size of tent.
It does, but I mean, we're both imagining a small tent.
Yeah, I instantly just thought 2 or 3 man sort of camping tent.
The main question is, that tent is not going to last them two even standing up.
Yeah, maybe we have to have some sort of bigger tent. Maybe a tent, more like a marquee tent or something, like a Like you'd get like the New Forest show or some other sort of fate or...
What would happen if the tent were to be damaged? Like, destroyed? Is there an outside of this tent?
I guess there would have to be, because I don't see it very likely that the tent won't get in some way damaged or destroyed. I guess they'd be in a field. That's what tents usually are, isn't it?
Alright, they're in a tent in a field.
Unless you want the tent to be anywhere else.
Where else would a tent be?
But that's sort of what I was thinking. I think as much as possible they should have to try and stay within the tent. But if the tent becomes irreversibly damaged, then I understand if they spill out into the area around.
Alright, okay. Because, don't get me wrong, I want them to fight in a tent. But equally, a tent is not gonna...
It's not a very solid foundation, is it?
It's not, no, it's not gonna last a fight. But like all the other fights we've had, we've been, they've been effectively bounded by their...
Setting.
Yes, setting.
Well, I guess if we say you can only leave the tent if it is by the other person's doing.
You can only leave the tent if it's by the other person.
So, like if somebody fires you through the wall of a tent, then you can leave the tent. But then you'd have to go back in the tent to continue the fight.
I don't think the tent's gonna last very long, to be honest. Like, tents are quite flammable.
Yes,
And
yes,
energy
they are.
cannons are quite inflaming.
What do you want the area around the tent to be like?
Well, I mean, it has to be a field, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just grass and, so.
Yeah.
What do you want the weather to be like?
What's the weather where you're like?
Well, now it's pretty sunny. It looks really nice out. Apparently, it's
Yes.
a little bit windy, but it looks lovely.
It's pretty sunny and windy here too. That'll do.
Okay, cool.
We are quite far apart, for the record. It's not as if we live in the same house and the weather is constant everywhere. We are quite far apart.
You know what? Sort of in the north yesterday, they had snow.
Bastards.
I mean, it was certainly a lot colder yesterday.
How far north are we talking?
I can't remember. I saw it on the news.
Saw it on the news. What is the news? Who watches that?
Like I say, I watched the PM's address yesterday.
Canonically, it is dictated that the reigning champion is the one who is already present at the location in some way or shape or form. So
Samus's camping trip.
Yeah, Samus's camping trip. I'm not sure if she's in a sleeping bag or just in ball form.
Do you reckon she sleeps in ball form?
Well, I don't. She's quite big in her power suit. Like, we're talking like nearly 7 foot. That's why she weighs so much, by the way. So, tents are not that big. I feel that that's the only way she could sleep is like in ball form, and like she has a little nest. So she takes a sleeping bag with her, but she just unpacks it and rolls it into a circle, like a little nest, so the egg...
Well,
that is
she
her.
was raised by birds, so...
Yeah, it makes so much sense. So it doesn't like roll down any hills.
Excellent.
Or anything.
Totally with you.
Right, love it. So yeah. Yep, Samus is resting in her little tent, which she bought from Go Outdoors before coronavirus hit, because they're probably closed.
Yeah, but she's from space, she wouldn't know that.
Yeah, that's true. She just found a tent for 2. Was like, oh yeah, that would do. But little knowing that tents for 2 are designed for humans who are less than 6'8".
And, tents for 2 are really only designed for one person.
They're designed for one person with a lot of stuff, or 2 people with barely anything.
Yeah. It's like, if you had literally no bags, you could just about fit 2 people into sleep.
I mean, you can fit 2 people in bags and tents. But anyway, yes, she's in a little tent, snuggled up in a ball, with a little sleeping bag around. It looks lovely.
Then, all of a sudden, there's a knock on the fabric door.
I mean...
It sounds a bit like this.
It isn't really a knock. And then there's a... Hang on, do I make a zip noise or do I just undo my zip? Then there's a...
Hello, who is it? And then they come face to face. Samus unzipping her tent and Amaya outside the tent, and they're like, it's the people we need to fight.
Wait, I thought Amaya was just going to enter the tent. Otherwise they wouldn't be fighting in the tent.
They'd be in the doorway of the tent. Alright, well Amaya will step in and be like, we must fight. Except she'll say it in sign language, which I don't think Samus would understand. But that's fine. That's fine. I just think out of context Samus would know, because obviously Samus knows that this is the person she has to fight.
Yeah, and she is a bounty hunter after all.
Yeah,
Like, there's probably a bounty on Amaya's head.
possibly. I mean, she's a famous general in an army. I imagine there's somebody who does it who wants her dead.
Yeah, probably like Private Barry, who's like, oh, I got a hit on her, but she denied it, and I want to be promoted to Reginald Barry. Reginald isn't a rank in the army, but it is. It is.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
All right. So, flappy tent sound. Dum, dum, dum. Amaya walks in and
Just so you know, this episode's going to be called Flappy Tent Sound. Unless you say anything better.
and like Samus unballs, which is awkward because she's really tall and tents are not. So she's hunched over, and the fabric is very close to ripping.
And as she sort of does it, she feels a little bit of rain come through in the way that it does when you touch the side of a tent. Even though it's nice out now, maybe it rained overnight. Maybe there's just some morning dew. Oh.
Yeah, the worst. It's okay though, her suit is waterproof.
Oh, well, never mind them.
Some would argue she doesn't actually need the tent, but she likes the sound of the rain on it. Because who doesn't?
Me.
Well, don't sleep in tents then.
I haven't for quite some time.
Good. So yeah, she stands up and then they kind of face each other. Samus, normally I would say, is looking down on Amaya, but she's probably not because they're probably both hunched over in a tiny tent. Amaya's shield looks quite pointy at the top and is probably destroying the tent.
It is quite pointy at the top because, as I say, the whole point is that you can sort of use the points on it to pin somebody against the wall with like their head in between the 2 points.
Yeah, like the Urukai does against Aragon in
Probably.
the first Lord of the Rings film.
I imagine so. I've seen other things do it with shields, but...
Yeah, or like how Zabaz's sword is designed to do it.
Yes, that is the one I do remember.
But anyway, they're both kind of crouched over, incredibly uncomfortable, probably. Nearly already destroying this tent, and they haven't even done anything. So, I mean, what's going to happen? Who knows?
Well, I think the first thing is Amaya would take her shield off her back and have it ready, in front of her to defend or hit Samus with, depending on what Samus does. So she's going to battle up, get ready, prepare.
Yep, so she, tugs the shield off her back and brings it forward. I mean, that is definitely ripping the top of the tent. That
Yep.
tent's ruined. And gets it ready. I think Samus, not enjoying the super close proximity of being stuck inside a tent, is probably going to morph it up again.
Okay.
I mean, I know she originated as a morph it up, but now she's stood up, at least she can somewhat, not be caught in her own egg nest, and can morph it up to probably start laying some bombs. If they're confined to within the tent as much as reasonably practical, where practical.
Yep.
Then she will have to bomb it up. That's going to be the main way for her to do things in this environment until the tent is destroyed and no more.
Cool. I think in which case Amaya will sort of put her shield down to block herself from the explosions of the bombs, potentially pushing the bombs up to Samus, being unaware that Samus doesn't get hurt by her own bombs.
I mean, yeah, they're not hugely powerful bombs. It's not, and it's quite a chunky shield. It doesn't seem unreasonable that. I mean, I don't know what the shape of it is at the bottom, but it doesn't seem unreasonable that she could use it to protect herself from certainly the major portion of the blast. I mean, she'd definitely feel some some knockback, but I don't imagine there's going to be much more than that. So Samus is rolling around just like dropping some bombs, and Amaya's like, what the shit? She doesn't say anything because she's deaf.
Yeah. So I think she'd sort of place it down, potentially stabbing through the bottom of the tent.
Yeah, I mean, that would seem like a reasonable thing to do. Otherwise, you're going to have an area around the ankles where it's just going to blow through.
Yeah, that's it. And she'll hunker behind it. The bombs will go off. Say, she's battled sunlight elves that shoot fire, and their fire didn't get her through the shield. So I feel like an explosion is kind of similar.
Yeah.
So I don't think she'll be hurt. She'll just feel the heat. However, Samus will probably be jettisoned out the back of the tent by the momentum of her, because that's how the ball works, right? It gets rolled around by explosions when she drops bombs.
I mean, yeah, she can use definitely. She does use the momentum of the balls to propel her upwards. It's not like a huge amount of momentum she gains from it, but it can be used. So I wouldn't be surprised if she was. She wouldn't just be like plopping a bomb and sitting around on the same spot. She'd be rolling around, dropping a few. But I wouldn't be surprised if she gets blown into the, back a little bit. But more importantly, those bombs are also going to
Set the tent on fire.
Yes, they're not gonna have a positive effect on the tent. I mean, if you look up how do I repair my tent 101, number one is not drop bombs everywhere.
No. But if you look up how do I ruin my tent 101, drop bombs everywhere is at least the third choice.
Yeah, I believe it is number one, yes.
Oh, number one. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty high. It's a weird list we look at.
Okay, so bombs go off, tent's on fire. I feel like, while she's a ball, or even if she unballs, Maya's gonna probably try and sort of swing her shield forward and sort of hit Samus back into the flaming tent, being unaware that Samus is probably relatively fireproof.
Yeah, I would much rather be in a ball of power armor than not be in a ball of power armor in a flaming tent. I mean, flaming tents are actually really dangerous. Like, they go up and they come down in less than a minute. They're really dangerous.
Yeah, and I imagine they fill with smoke very quickly as well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're probably right. There would be huge amounts of very toxic smoke because tents are made of plastic.
Oh, yes, it's plastic as well, isn't it? So it'd be it'd be really poisonous fumes.
Really toxic smoke filling up the tent.
Right. Okay. I've had a new thought.
Yeah.
So originally, I thought this was going to be a really cool and even fight. I now think that due to the idea that they are supposed to, where possible, stay inside the tent, that Amaya is going to die really quickly because she's going to suffocate, whereas Samus probably has some sort of filter or something, or at least a few hours supply of oxygen in her suit. Or
well, I mean, I think once the tent is destroyed, there's no rules to confine, because how can you confine her in a tent that is now part of the atmosphere?
If we're saying before the tent crumples, it fills with toxic smoke.
Now, yeah, that part I don't disagree with.
I'm just saying she's going to start not being able to breathe, whereas Samus will probably be okay.
She's definitely going to have a hard time before the tent is destroyed. Yes, that is true.
So I guess, do you think she'll suffocate before the tent collapses?
No, I don't think you could, because as I say, tents going down, they're really dangerous, but they're really quick, which is why it's dangerous. Because you just get covered in molten burning plastic, and then you have to scrape it off of yourself, which is not very fun. But why do I know these things? Who knows?
Because I don't know. I would entirely believe you would know these things. Okay, but other than her face, I believe she's entirely covered in armor. I understand that your head is probably the bit you really need to look after.
Well, I would have thought she could, raise her
shield above her. Yeah.
Yeah, she can crouch down and use her shield as a protective cover, and so she wouldn't get as much of the I am covered in smouldering, burning plastic thing, because most of it would then go onto her shield and burn off. So it's not as much of an issue.
Also, you're supposed to stay low in a fire, aren't you?
Right, exactly. It also goes exactly with common fire knowledge of get low, swing high, sweet chariot.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my thought. Bombs go off, tent catches fire. Amaya is going to swing her shield to try and hit Samus away from her, then hunker down underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, she needs to rip it out the ground anyway, because she just massively chonks it in there. So she as she rips it up, probably flips or I can't think of a good word for it, but chinks it to try and bat Samus away, which this probably will hit Samus. She'll get, or Samus has already been battered somewhat away into the other corner of the tent anyway. Who knows?
Yeah.
Then she drops down and covers herself with a shield to protect herself from a burning tent. But she is definitely still gonna have some adverse effects of being inside a bed.
So yeah, she's probably still going to find breathing quite difficult. Vision would be obscured by smoke and such, but she's not going to get rained on by burning plastic and hot metal.
No, well, her shield will be.
Yes, but that's less of an issue. It's kind of what a shield is there for.
That's what shields are designed for.
Okay, so what's Samus going to do while the tent collapses around them?
Well, Samus is probably just going to keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Because until the tent is officially destroyed, I don't think escaping it is within the ethic of the fight.
No. Do you think she would try and roll under Amaya's shield?
That's a good point, because she would then be able to
Lay a bomb.
And
Amaya would shit a brick.
Amaya would shit a brick. It's the question is, how well would she be able to see through a smoke-filled tent? Because there's no question that she can see while she's in her ball form, because otherwise how would she move when she's in her ball form? That's not the issue here. The issue is, how well can she see through the smoke-filled tent?
And how well can she hear? Because I imagine Amaya's probably coughing quite badly.
Yeah, that's true. But equally, there'd be a lot of like...
True. It would be the Inferno noise.
My understanding would be there is no visual aid other than, just being able to see normally while in ball form, as being associated with the power suit.
Okay. So, yeah, that remains the question then. Is she going to attempt to roll towards Amaya?
Well, I mean, it would seem sensible to try, because she's got to roll around in a lot of directions, because you don't want the burning plastic coated on one side of you. I mean, don't get me wrong, her suit's going to resist that, but it's unideal. So might as well, in the chaos, roll around and drop some more bombs. And then if she happens to get near Amaya, happy fucking days.
I mean, she's not going to exactly be far away.
No, exactly. And she'll easily be able to tell if she actually bumps into her, because she'll be like, oh, I've just hit a wall.
Yeah.
And if she hits a tent wall, she's going to go through it because it's getting on fire. So, yeah.
So, yeah, if she rolls around dropping some bombs, I imagine whether she gets, under Amaya's shield or not, Amaya is going to get hit by these, because she's too busy choking and trying to stop raining plastic or flame land on her.
Yeah, there's going to be some issues there. I mean, Amaya can crouch down. You can get quite small. So unless Samus is really lucky, I don't think she's going to get a bomb right next to Amaya.
No.
But she's still probably going to get a decent brunt of bomb blast.
Yes, definitely.
Into some area of her. I don't know where. But you're looking at arms, legs, or head. Yeah, you're looking at arms, legs, or head.
Yeah, probably a bit of all of them. Especially if Samus has done multiple bombs.
Yes, and there's no reason for her not to in this situation. Especially as the bombs will even aid clear the debris off of Samus' suit.
Yeah, so I think it's safe to say Samus drops another sort of 3 or 4 bombs. There's explosions. Amaya and Samus probably both blown out of said tent, which then disintegrates in the rubble. Samus is relatively uninjured because she's been hit with a shield once, whereas Amaya is now probably relatively damaged all over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I don't think Amaya's going to get blown out of the tent at all, because the bomb, I think she'll just be injured by the blast, but they're not
Okay, but then the tent collapses on top of her.
Yeah, but she's already protected by the shield. Samus would probably get bounced around a little bit by her own bombs and get blown free of the tent debris, and there would just be a smouldering pile of sticky plastic mess. Amaya, somewhat choking and injured, hunkered down in the middle with a smouldering, oozy, toxic shield.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. There'll be the really dramatic moment where Samus would look at the tent debris, and then the shield would sort of lift up and Amaya would climb out of it, and it would be oh, she's still alive.
Yeah.
She just looks really messed up.
Yeah, so once the tent's been destroyed, the confines of the tent is no longer practical, so...
Yeah, they're allowed to fight within the field.
Samus being a bit further away, unmorph balls, to look back at her beautiful tent and sleeping bag, which have been destroyed in this catastrophic definitely accident.
And she'd be like, "No, my nest!
No, my nest, my Chozo nest."
Hand cannon away!
Well, yeah, so she'd be looking in there. It would still be very smoky, right? So she wouldn't necessarily be able to see perfectly through the kind of smouldering flames and smoke down there. And she hears some coughing and wheezing and like this smouldering, droopy shield. I say droopy to the audience. I don't mean the shield itself is droopy because it's melting. I mean there's molten plastic that's drooping off the shield. Very big distinction. Rises up with Amaya like coughing and wheezing behind it. But yeah, it's definitely at this point Samus is going to be like, hot damn. Get it? Hot.
Yeah.
And probably just go for I think a missile is a nice way for her to quote unquote end this. I'm not saying it's going to end it, but I'm saying Samus will think like, oh yeah, a missile will do that trick.
Okay. What I reckon would happen is Amaya will be able to get her shield to block the missile, but due to her weakened state and the fact she's still like coughing and spluttering and trying to regain her breath now that she's out of toxic fumes, she probably wouldn't block it as wholeheartedly as she would normally. Yeah. So I reckon, although it won't damage her much, it would probably knock her like from standing, maybe either back to a crouching position or onto or fully prone or something. It will knock her down.
Yeah. What's this shield like made of? Is it what kind of punches is it taken? Out of interest.
I mean, it's taken sword hits and bow and arrows, and it's like I say, when she was fighting the elves, like they were shooting fire at it, and it was okay.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't think one missile is going to puncture or destroy the shield, but I'm just thinking about its longevity if it becomes an issue.
I don't imagine the shield will be an issue. I think it will be the person wielding the shield is in quite a bad state. And...
Yeah, fair. Yeah, it's quite a lot of effort to hold a shield.
Yeah, I think she'll be knocked like down, meaning Samus can probably get another attack in that she won't be able to block.
Yeah, so she like stands up, coughing and spluttering. Samus goes to fire a missile. She sees the missile incoming and like goes to raise the shield and kind of get ready for a bracing stance. But in taking the blast, her somewhat recovering body
crumbles.
Yeah, her framework is broken, and I don't mean that like her bones are broken. I just mean like what she's trying to do is broken, and she like loses a leg. And I don't mean she loses a leg. I mean
she falls to one knee. She
falls to one knee. Yes, that's what I mean.
That's what you're trying to say.
In this smouldering tent wreck where...
That would be really awkward. She'd put her knee in a puddle of plastic. I mean, again, she's got armour on, so she probably wouldn't like burn or anything, but it'd just be unpleasant.
Yeah, it would be unpleasant. I don't know what... Yeah, but what's her armour like? Is it...
It's... I believe it's called Glampra.
Glampra.
I'm
just... there was a photo of her in full... Oh, yeah, no, that looks like kind of... That looks...
I imagine like she'll have a sticky mark on her knee now, but like I don't think it will.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's metallic on the legs. I was just making sure it wasn't like, you know, how some people have like super mega armor up top and then they're wearing like jeggings.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So, but then as you mentioned, Samus would fire off another missile, and at this time she would also, you know, there's no point Samus keeping this a linear fight because she's against a shield user who's... It's like when she's fighting a boss with a weak spot. Why shoot it in the heart? In fact, it's like the boss that I just fought, which I don't remember the name of. Why shoot it in its giant hard back carapace when it's got a lovely fleshy underbelly?
Well, yeah.
So she would start making an arc around to try get a good angle on to start fire. I mean, even if she just has to fire a lot to keep Amaya on a defensive, it's definitely a good way for her to go.
That's it. I think it would only be a matter of time before Amaya couldn't keep up because she's already weakened and sort of off balance and stuff. And I think Samus would eventually be able to get a missile past her shield and blow her up.
Yeah, so like she fires one and, you know, she's gone down to her knees and then she's reacting to these like reactions because she's probably quite a visual character, Amaya, you know, being deaf.
Yeah.
She notices the like muzzle flares of the missiles being shot from Samus's arm and manages to like turn and get but she's like shuffling on one knee on the floor. She's managing to turn and get a shield. Her shield's not necessarily in the perfect alignment for what she'd like, so she probably manages to defend, like block one, and then she sees another, block another, and then she's turning around awkwardly, and the blast like knocks her shield somewhat, not away, but just gives it a bit of recoil in the direction she doesn't necessarily anticipate. And then by this point, Samus has done a full 180 arc around her, and she's now trying to defend on her back while she's trying to shuffle around on her knees in a pile of molten tent. So another missile comes in, and she tries to bring her shield round, but it just isn't necessarily fast enough this time. And a missile catches her in the person.
And she explodes.
In Metroid. Or somehow dies due to death. Cause of death. Explosion by missile.
I was going to say, at this point, if she didn't die, she would submit, because she's been a prisoner of war before, and it always leads to the potential opportunity of escaping in the future.
Yeah, that's fair.
That being said, Samus is a bounty hunter, so probably wouldn't care about her submission and would just kill her anyway. So,
I think if they actually did submit, if she got a chance to submit, Samus probably would take the submission.
That's fair. I suppose sometimes you can get a better bounty for an alive.
Yeah, she's just used to being a rootin' tootin' killing machine.
So yeah, I think that's Amaya defeated. I thought that would have been a lot more interesting fight. Although we initially thought the tent would be really bad for Samus, I think actually the fact that it was really bad for Amaya and actually quite good for Samus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think necessarily Amaya would have had an easy run of it no matter where they were, but I definitely think it made it harder, a lot harder.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, as we've discussed before, Samus doesn't necessarily have the mega environmental suit for, like, I could survive lava and acid, but her standard suit is designed to withstand space and has an unlimited supply of, well, nearly unlimited supply of oxygen, and is able to withstand her own bombs, and is a power armor suit, so it's bound to be able to resist a short-lived amount of fire from a tent.
Yes.
And mostly it was the environmental factor that she just was able to breathe quite functionally.
That's it. It was the fact she was able to breathe when Amaya wasn't.
Yeah, which instead of giving Samus a big advantage, gave Amaya a really big disadvantage and put her on the defensive, which she is a defensive character.
But it was the fact it was a weakened defensive.
Yeah, and she's used to living in a world with melee combat and, some magic as well, but not necessarily a person in some super breathable armor with missiles.
It's a shame.
It is a shame, but people have to die in Mishmash Mayhem.
Well, yeah.
For progress to be made.
And on the positive, it means Samus gets to join the Mishmash Mayhem Hall of Fame.
Hooray!
So, hey, and, if you're the sort of person who cares about this sort of thing, it means it's now gender equal Hall of Fame.
Yeah! And that is not by design.
I say gender equal. Gender equal of the two OG genders. I understand that there are many genders, but
Yeah, the point is, it's not all men, or all women, or
exactly.
all non-binary, and we're happy about that.
I mean, while we are talking about how, like, the political correctness and thing, I didn't mention it because I don't necessarily consider it something important, only as we've mentioned it anyway. But Amaya was, I believe, our first gay character, because she is canonically gay.
Awesome.
Anyway, so that means there's going to be 2 new characters next episode.
Okay, so this character is from... Are they from a comic? I'm not. They're not from a comic. I'm just wondering if there is a comic of it. But they're from a game, and also there was a TV series about this game, which was hilarious. I'm led to believe. They have a ranking as their titular name, and they got to go fast. And they love and have. Well, they have a signature move named after themselves. Because why wouldn't they? So it's a racing character who has a ranking for a name and has a titular move named after him. Or sorry, not a signature move named after himself.
Okay, the clue for my character, coming in to go against your racing character, is it's a Marvel Comics character. Again, I know we've had a few of those.
Yeah, lots of characters.
But, although I suppose I did choose the last 2 Marvel characters, I didn't choose this one. This is a fan-suggested character. Marvel Comics character who is a trained surgeon by profession that actually becomes a powerful wizard.
Okay, I have a feeling who it might be.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our episode. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do so over on the Twitter at podcastmmm, or you can email us at podcastmmm@tinkertailorsoldiersponge.com. You can tell us how you thought that fight would have gone. If you think there's a way that things could have gone differently, we'd like to know. If you're happy or sad about Samus joining the Hall of Fame, you can tell us about that too. Like, maybe you're really hyped for Samus to win the Season 1 Mishmash Mayhem finale when that eventually happens. Similarly, if you'd like to suggest characters or arenas, you can do so at those locations. It's always fun when you get involved, and like I say, my next character will be a fan suggestion. So that is exciting.
When we say do so at those locations, we don't mean go to the location where you think a fight should take place and suggest we should have a fight there. We won't hear you. We mean go to the website.
Yes, go to Twitter or email us. Yes. Do you have a final thought, Mr. Wade? Or, I was thinking, can I take the final thought for this episode?
Carry on then.
Yeah, stealing your final thought section for this episode, just to quickly be like, hey guys, certainly whilst we're all in lockdown, I hope that I can continue it after that. But it will probably be at a reduced rate. But certainly for now, which I understand will be crazy because this episode won't come out for another month that you hear it. But I've started Twitch streaming. I don't want to make a big thing of it on the podcast, but I think if I mention it at least once, that's reasonable. So if you want to come join me and hang out in chat while I play some games and, have fun, you can do that at twitch.tv/secondhandck.
It's fun. You get to laugh at him.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. I probably won't mention it on podcast again unless I do anything particularly interesting on stream. But I just thought it'd be worth saying at least once. Maybe I'll mention it again, like when my schedule changes, when I go back to work, whenever that is.
Work? What is work? Scientists just don't have an answer.
Okay, so on that note, bye.
Catch you all late.
Join Tom and Rob for your essential fortnightly dip into the world of British and American politics. We read all the boring stuff, so you don't have to.
And I also like to think that our kind of characteristic banter adds to the show. I ask Rob most of the questions and Rob provides the insights, don't you, Rob?
Yes, I do, and I just tend to witter on and 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 on over you. But that's fine, because people listen to it for me.
Join Mike and Tom for nerdy conversation with a multitude of guests on Hat of Many Things.
Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
I'm Mark, a librarian and professional wrestling ring announcer.
I cast League of Legends.
Soteros Philbricato, best known for my work with White Wolf and Onyx Path Publishing on the World of Darkness.
Hi, I'm Jason Carl. I'm the producer of V5 at White Wolf.
Yeah, my name is Johanna Pettersson, I'm a Finnish game designer.